SFJ 4x4 Studios presents
in my oversized four-wheel drive Jeep.
a Jeep podcast starring industry experts.
Pure monosity.
What? Say that again.
With mad scientist Scott Brown,
Use my drill press as a sort of lathe.
our host Neil Simpson,
If one light goes out, they all go out.
filled with shenanigans.
We are really professional with Jeeps.
This is I Speak Jeep.
Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever, however you are joining us. This is the I Speak Jeep podcast presented by SFJ4x4.com. And we are sitting in the SFJ 4x4 studio on Grandma's couch, coming to you live 10:19 a.m. on Monday for
It's SFJ time. It's fine.
for the introductory 12 Jeeps of Christmas, or Jeepmas. 12
Jeepmas.
days of Jeepmas.
Yep.
Yes.
We'll do the first four of this episode.
I know everybody's just primed and ready for this.
It's very
Everybody
exciting.
but you.
No
I
doubt.
saw on Discord they were even talking about it last night. They were very excited.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's right. For those, that is our Patreon. We encourage anybody and everybody can join. We appreciate those who do. You get involved in a private Discord with us, and we enjoy sharing with you. I shared a little bit of my weekend.
And there's also been a few fun vlog episodes that are released only on Patreon.
on our Patreon.
And
Yeah, no doubt.
It's really fun.
So my name is Neil, as I mentioned, and who am I joined with in studio?
In our festive stuff.
In appropriately festive,
Jeff Shermani.
in the ugliest sweater today.
That's right.
And
It's got
but
Gizmo on it.
But I approve.
It's Gizmo.
No way.
Gremlins.
Oh my God, they're gremlins. I didn't even look at you.
Yeah.
It was so ugly that I wasn't paying
literally
attention to
gremlins
you.
on the sleeve.
Yes.
Oh, it is a Christmas gremlins.
That's right.
You're no-
Only Jeff.
No source of
Yeah.
of amaze and surprise, Jeffrey. Wow. Wow. That's okay.
And then if you're one of the cool kids that has the SFJ,
Tis the season.
do the season to be wheeling.
Yes.
shirts,
That's right.
Yeah.
Sweatas.
Sweater. So yeah, so Scott's
We're
got.
rocking both styles. We got the zip up and we got the pull over.
We do have both. You're right. We have
I
both
can
styles.
still pull stuff over my head. I'm not that old yet, so it's obviously
No.
it's a couple months ahead of me.
I
No,
went
you know
with the
what it
zip up
is.
too. Just saying.
You know what it is? What it is? I want my plaid to be appropriately properly displayed.
I
true.
can't believe you didn't have him do a plaid hoodie for you with a.
Oh,
So here's the challenge. Just we have been looking for plaid options for years now. And I really want to get into like a plaid, like a work shirt or like a summer shirt, and we'll get there. We will, but the actual physical shirt is very hard to come by.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, and if you're aware of us folks, and I actually had a customer come up over the weekend who had gotten one of our new hoodies, and he was like, hey, I really dig it. It feels good. It's a comfortable hoodie, and it's nice and warm. So they were out at I was out at the Goodyear Blimp Toys for Tot Jeeps Only Drive.
Yep.
And good friend and customer, comes up and says, hey, nice hoodies. And it's always been, I think our approach is to create merchandise out of quality materials,
yeah.
because I am one who I don't care how cheap or how expensive a shirt is. If it doesn't feel good, if it doesn't wash well, if it
Right.
doesn't wear
Then you're
well,
not going to wear it.
then you're not going to wear it.
Yeah.
And so I don't know that he would understand the compliment that he was paying to us, to our process at that time.
Right in your feels.
But I was like right in my feels, because I was like, yes, that's what we want. We want good
Yeah.
quality, because we want you to be able to wear it out and actually represent.
And we all
appropriately.
wear our own stuff.
Correct.
You know,
That's-
we want selfishly we want to be comfortable
That's
too.
right. That's right. That's exactly it.
Yes.
We're wearing the same stuff. So anywho, so we're in that. Scott's in the gray pullover, and I got the zip with the back plate, which I like.
I'm going to just jump to the comments here. Joe started off with, while we're waiting. That was our extended time. Because
Extended time? No.
No.
we
Oh,
we,
it's fine.
we were talking rather than starting. That
Never.
never happens.
No.
And then Brad saying, good morning, fellas. Welcome back. Darla said good
welcome,
morning.
Welcome. Good morning.
Roy said good morning, everyone. Rob from Daddy Jeep said morning, guys. Darla called out Scott, hey now, for the pullover comment,
I was just meaning that towards Neil.
because she loves her zip-up as well.
Excellent. Excellent.
And
yeah.
the zip-ups and pullovers are available for purchase. Just give us a call. We can get them ordered.
I know what it was. He didn't want to mess up his hair.
That's exactly what it was.
The mohawk takes priority. I really debated because, of course, as we move into the winter months, we most of our listeners and viewers know that I love my hats, and I do have
Especially a specific hat.
especially a very specific hat. You're right.
It gets compliments on it all the time.
You know what? I'm going to divert here in just a hot second. I have a hat that matches this this blue, which I'm very specific. This blue is very specific for us, chosen. But I have a hat that matched it, and I thought about wearing it. But my wife likes to say that the higher my mohawk, the happier I am, the better my day is going to be. She too does her hair in such a way that she has a little poof in her hair, and so we always kind of jokingly tell each other, like, the higher her poof. So this is my poof, and it's nice and high.
Competing though, because you guys are all about the competition.
We are not in hair competition, but I can tell you my hair is standing nice and tall and strong right now.
The only reason they're not in the competition is he's not ready for the man bun.
Oh, stop it. Definitely not. I actually saw a picture. I was trying to grow my beard out a couple years ago, and I was like, oh, my God, please don't ever let me do that kind of stuff, man. I tried growing my hair out once when we were like in our teens, and I was like, oh, my, it's the worst. I am the worst with long hair.
I get my hair to the moppy look, and I'm like, I got to shave it. I can't do it.
If I do that, I'm going to start painting happy little trees and stuff, so I can't do that.
Happy accident. My hat, I got to be honest with you, I love my hat desperately. If you know me, I think it's just kind of is fitting to the peculiarity of my personality.
Yeah.
I do believe that somebody judged me over the weekend, and I had to take my hat off and go straight business mode on them, And I had to be like, listen.
When it's real, when the hat comes off.
Yeah, I did. I took the hat off. I kind of moved the hair around a little bit, and I was like, let's talk business now. Don't.
The hats are off.
The hats are off. Yeah. No,
what you should have done is just spun the hat backwards at that point and gone business mode that way.
The hat would cover my face,
Yeah,
Jeffrey.
That's the point.
Okay.
Weirdo.
No.
Weirdo. I do want to take a moment. Obviously, people chiming in and following along. We recently, in our little break in duration here, so I will kind of in an official capacity say that I had reached out with a family thing on social. So if you're following on my social page, I thank you for all of the people who responded positively, sending good thoughts, prayers, vibes into the universe and my way towards my family. So things are as manageable as they can be at this time. And procedures and everything went very well. So thank you for those of you who've reached out personally or publicly in that capacity. It is sincerely appreciated. Additionally, in this duration that we have been off air, we had our Christmas parade, which was epic.
Absolutely.
And we'll probably talk about a little bit of that in just a few minutes. I'll let somebody else share. But I specifically want to take this moment to recognize folks who brought us gifts or wanted to share in a capacity. I do have those in studio with us today, and I'm going to attempt to show them a little bit. There's so many. I wasn't
ready.
I wasn't ready. So
I could have helped, but it's more fun to watch you just try
could
to
have helped. So I have a new aloe plant for us not to kill in shop.
But we still love the old one.
We still love Fred.
Yeah.
The old one.
Yeah.
what are we going to name
Frank.
the new one?
Frank. Frank is the old
Frank.
one.
Yeah, we don't even know his name. We love him so much.
Frank the aloe plant.
Oh boy.
Who's Frank was doing well for a couple years, and then
we started calling him Fred, and he died.
Jeffrey, that's not okay. The customer knocked him off the counter.
Yeah, he had a rough go of it.
And he had a rough go of it. He's been repotted forcibly like 2 or 3 times at this point.
They still try it. I'll give him that.
So we have this beautiful new aloe plant, which is actually a heirloom plant. It's been actually repotted from our customer Sue's larger parent plant, and then even this one, she grabbed one that had offshoots, babies to it. So we will be able to plant more. So thank you, Sue, for thinking of us and that. Chip and Aaron gave us a couple spectacular things. First of all, Chip had been digging through a family member's estate and found the most spectacular little vintage die-cast Jeep.
Yep.
And he had reached out. He said, "Hey, I have something for you at the parade." And I thought that was really, really cool.
Is
pretty
it stamped with Mattel on the bottom or anything?
I'm not sure. I don't
That's-
think so.
That's pre Hot Wheels there,
That's
man.
pre, right? This is the super old era, and
Yeah.
I love both the vintage nature,
Mm-hmm.
and then obviously that he was kind enough to share with us. Aaron handmade this spectacular Christmas card for our shop, and
She is so crafty.
Yep, without a doubt. So for them to share those things with us, sincerely appreciate that. And then we had multiple good, fun gifts come in. We have this custom SFJ ornament by Diana. And she runs Tool City Jeep Jam. So if you're in the local area to Western Pennsylvania, that is a growing show and event. And she came in and participated. So thank you for your participation in the parade, but also this really super nice. I mean, that's good quality.
I think that
Yeah,
needs
it
to be
is.
hung on the tree after this.
Well,
we are definitely going to hang it
yeah.
on the tree, right? And then ultimately, I had made the statement of loving Darla's bedazzled hat at the 4th of July parade. So for Christmas, for those of you who are dedicated listeners, all three of you, I am holding that hat in studio right now, but also obviously for our viewers, this is the shiniest bedazzled hat that I could imagine. She claims that this is a men's hat, that she specifically found me a men's bedazzled American flag
Hey,
hat.
It's 2023. I'm not judging.
So I think it's really valuable to know this is how much I appreciate it. But I am actually going to go ahead and put this on
Over the mohawk.
the mohawk, and wear my bedazzled American flag 4th of July hat, which I will absolutely have
Yeah.
for our 4th of July parade coming up, obviously in 6-7 months.
I love that it's like denim too.
Oh,
So it's a denim hat that's bedazzled with the American flag.
if
It's
it wasn't
perfect.
if it wasn't so cliche for the somebody's not going to be happy with this, but the Canadian tuxedo, I used to rock the best denim jacket with denim jeans look back in the day. I might have to bring that out for 4th of July, but like a
Holy
denim cutoff
cow.
and like cutoff shorts and this hat. That might be what's happening at 4th of July parade.
I don't know if I want to see that or not.
So
A
then,
part of me wants to see that. The rest
if
of me's
that
going
happens,
no.
though, we need to get a bedazzler
And do the
and continue the theme.
To bedazzle my little shorts.
Yes.
cut off.
my,
Your
my
cut off.
cutoff shorts.
If you're gonna do it, you gotta go all in.
Oh, full bedazzled.
I mean, I'm going back to infomercial days.
I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy. Goodness. So yeah, you know what? Those are just some of the gifts. There have been sweets and goodies coming in. If I didn't mention something on air and I missed it, I understand. We sincerely appreciate you thinking about us and sharing with us and sending gifts our way to our facility. And we do recognize that. These are some of the ones that have been stuck out to me that I wanted to make sure we got off my desk and on air today.
Mm-hmm.
So
The rest we ate.
that's right. We've been eating our celebratory gifts. So, anywho, guys, what's been going on in your lives? Obviously, this is the lifestyle podcast, and so we do like to share a little bit. You know what? I'm going to take one. I actually saw a trailer.
Oh.
It is manufactured by Timberwolf.
Oh.
Leo and I were together. I saw a trailer. I think it's a park model. I'll just put that out there. But it is literally bigger, taller, and similarly narrow as yours.
That makes me feel good.
Yeah. I mean, I
So
was.
made out of bricks.
I don't. I mean, I
It's
pulled up
probably
on it.
actually aluminum framed.
Probably it is
'Cause
because that's the only way you can get that height, I think. And it actually had an overlook, so it actually had a porch Okay, I kid you not. It had a porch, and above the porch was probably a 3 foot, 2 to 3 foot, cubby that probably a loft that you could throw kids up in, and I mean, so you have a full height of standing, and then a 2 or 3 foot loft space.
That makes mine look short.
I'm telling you, Leo and I were together. We're running down one of the events, or one of the places we took Chuck this weekend, and I pulled in. I was pulling in the gas station. I was like, "Holy cow! Look at that thing!"
That's awesome.
And it was a manufactured. I mean, it's made by Timberwolf, which is a name brand camper.
We actually used Timberwolf layouts for some of our design.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
I looked through a lot of. I did not see that camper that you're talking about. So
Yeah, well, my goodness, it looked
Probably
identical.
for the best.
I was seriously having a little bit of a hard time. It was misting. I was seeing through the windshield. I didn't have the wipers on fast enough or something, and I saw it, and I was like, "Is that Jeff? Like, is Jeff on the road right now?" And I was like, "Oh no, that is a manufactured. Somebody has spent money on that. I understand if you built it by yourself in your side yard, but."
I'm not sure how I feel right now.
Somebody intentionally did that. It's got to be a park model, because there's no way. I mean, this is a sailboat running down the highway.
I mean, some of the gooses are so tall.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
over top of the cab, and I just think like
I'm okay if it's a fifth wheel or a goose. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's a bumper pole. Bumper poles weird me out when they're that height.
Wow.
You
Yeah.
know, that's just very challenging. That's a battleship running down the highway,
Oh, totally.
pulled by a tugboat. You know,
definitely.
and while I understand the affirming nature of your 1-ton Gladiator, I'd still really.
I should let you try to pull that sometime just to see how it pulls.
And Davey could video. We could take for a little test
I
drive.
think you'd be surprised at how well that actually does. It surprised me. I'll tell you that.
Scott helped with the chassis, so
That's exactly it. I mean, 100%.
don't forget we lowered it.
We lowered it, and changing that wheelbase
Really
made a
difference.
difference.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So I was just sharing because I was thinking of you over the weekend, camper. And where is the camper right now?
In my backyard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is it just a big clubhouse, or do you have it like winterized, or what do you?
So the kids have been using it as a big clubhouse.
Yeah,
Um,
that's cool.
They really want to do a snowy day sleepover in it, so we told them once.
Just
there's
in the backyard, or you
Yep,
think you might
just
go?
in the backyard.
That's cool.
Kristen's all about trying out the heater in there and seeing how well it holds the heat.
Sure.
I think it'll do okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Um,
It's a well constructed.
the plus side is it's our backyard, so if it doesn't hold up, just go right inside.
All right inside.
Yeah. So
Perfect.
that's kind of been a talking thing, and kids have literally been using it as a clubhouse in the backyard.
I'm sure.
But as far as things this weekend goes, I mean, we traveled to Erie to get Xander an updated pair of glasses. His broke under warranty, issues with the screws just
Sure.
falling out and not staying. So they gave him a new
He
pair.
was telling me all about it at the parade. He was very, very loquacious. About
Xander
his
was?
Yeah, Xander was telling me all about his glasses and how you had tried to repair them already. And
Yeah.
yeah,
We just kept putting the screws back in, and they just literally would fall out
Sure.
within days. And we went to Eyeglass World to get it repaired, and they tried a bigger, fatter screw and said,
Yep.
"Here, this will hold." And I said, "No, that's going to stretch the hinge." I said, "No, it'll be fine." They put the screw in, and the arm was snap, snap, snap.
Mhm.
I'm like, "Yeah, this isn't going to work. That's just going to break the hinge." And they're like, "No, it's fine. Let me see." And they do it, and they're like, "Oh, I can feel it popping. I hear it now." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Yep." So they just ordered a new pair.
That's
That's
good.
cool.
So we picked that up. I stopped at World of Music in Erie just to touch base with the manager there, and happenstance I ran into a good friend and musician who just happened to be in the store, Matthew Craze, which is ironic, and you'll appreciate this later in the day. He tagged me in a Facebook memory from when we became friends on Facebook.
Nice.
I'm like, what are the odds of that?
yeah.
So that was
Crashing souls, man. That's
Yeah.
crashing souls.
So that was fun. Other than that, we tried to have a relaxing weekend. Our dryer, I told you guys about, our dryer did break during our break. And the door switch just snapped off. Not a big deal, except for the fact that the door itself has also been sagging and getting worse. So you have to lift the door as you close it anyways. So for temporary purposes, instead of buying a door switch, I just wired in.
Like a toggle?
Nope. I just took a wire and looped it and made it a straight loop so that there's no safety switch. So the dryer can run with or without the door. Not a big deal in my mind, but
As long as a child doesn't crawl in there.
that is a big deal in my house.
Right?
So anyways, interestingly enough, we learned on Sunday that you can't buy a dryer on the spot anymore.
No.
You have to
No.
order them.
Appliances, period, have to be ordered.
Yep. They don't stock them anymore.
I would love for one of our customers who might be in the appliance industry, specifically the big box stores, and I'm assuming that was what you were indicating, right?
Yes.
So before we get away from mom and pops, which obviously is an independent retailer, servicer, distributor, so on and so forth.
And I'm going to say, even from what I'm finding out, a lot of those places are also switching to non-inventory in-house. It's an ordering system.
Which is fine. What I can factually say is that I've been exposed to a number of people recently through the box store distribution network. So your Home Depots, your Lowe's, your Menards, I guess those are your big ones anymore.
Yep.
You cannot go in there same day, leave with an appliance.
And I'm gonna call out Home Depot because I was frustrated by them. Their website doesn't even give you an option for pickup.
That's weird.
You can get delivery on the dryer. It's free delivery.
Yeah.
But that's it.
Oh,
So if you want to buy an appliance for pickup from there, you have to go into the store and order it,
yes.
and then go back to the store when it's available for pickup.
So how long are they saying?
About a week. Well, delivery. So delivery, they're offering delivery next day, supposedly. I was told in-house at both locations. Don't trust what our website says on that
Yeah. Interesting.
because they're using a third-party delivery system that's bringing it from some warehouse that's not even Lowe's or Home Depot's.
Oh dear.
I literally saw a disheveled Amazon worker. Yesterday was Sunday, so if you're listening to this in live time or relatively close to when we're producing it, it was Sunday. Disheveled Amazon worker dragging some type of appliance up like 150-foot rural driveway. Yesterday on one of my Jeep excursions throughout the countryside. And I just thought, first of all, I mean, I'm sure Amazon, has appliances. I guess I don't think about going there to buy my washer or my dryer or my stove.
Anything.
I think you can buy just about anything. I get it. But Sunday, Amazon driver by theirself dragging an appliance up the driveway.
I wonder if they offered hookup. That poor Amazon driver's got to hook up.
I don't know. So from a
Probably
person
just dumping that and running.
Right?
Well, I was going to say,
Surprised
from a
they're
person,
dragging it up the stairs at that point.
it was just the driveway. You know what I mean? So I can tell you, as a person who has bought oversized things from Amazon, specifically the Amazon delivery indicates you can get it put in a safe space outside or around of your house, or you can have it in a garage. But if you want it into the house, you have to pay. Amazon will subcontract like a moving company, if available in your area,
And
to put it in your house.
additionally, if you do order something large and it says driveway delivery, be cautious. That means they're dropping it at the end of your driveway. Not that they're putting it up in the top of your driveway. The driveway delivery is at the curb.
It's a driver's discretion at that point.
Driver's discretion, yeah. I've heard that.
Most drivers aren't going to take it up.
I'm watching this lady tote this thing. I mean, who knows what they paid for indicated,
Yeah.
but I mean,
Amazon
I
is
just,
supposed to take it at least to the building.
yeah.
They're not supposed to do curbside deliveries.
Long story short, I've heard a growing thing: appliances not available in the stores anymore.
So
super wild.
There and just so that I'm factual, because I know somebody's going to call me out, there are a couple items that you could get,
Sure.
but it's
very slim.
very
selection.
slim. It's very random, and it's not anything that most people are looking for. And when I
Sure.
asked them, I asked specifically, I said, "Hey, why don't you stock these anymore?" Well, we don't really sell appliances like we used to. Used to be 10 a day on a Saturday. Now we're lucky if we sell one on a Saturday.
And I
And
was just
my reply was, well, maybe if you stocked them, people would be able to buy them.
well, I think that's just absolutely it. I mean, to talk about your factual approach to say they're just not stocking them. This has changed.
And that blows my mind because I and throughout my life, I have never went ahead of time going, hey, I need to buy this whole set of appliances ahead of time.
Yeah.
I've bought them when I needed them.
Mhm.
Right.
And when I need it, I kind of need it. I don't want to wait
Sure.
2 weeks for it to show up.
Sure.
So that was mind-boggling to me. That I think we talked about it around Thanksgiving that you had a friend that
We
needed
did.
a
We had
stove,
a friend who literally their stove went out like the day before Thanksgiving, and
and you can't buy it in the store.
couldn't buy it in a store. Now, to Home Depot's credit, locally,
Yeah.
they their GM made it happen and was able to work their magic and sold one of the units.
But they had to jump through hoops to do
all
that
the hoops.
because they
all the
don't
hoops.
sell the floor models.
Correct. Correct.
We got to keep them for display because we don't have them in stock to show them. That's their excuse.
Yeah, really fascinating situation.
It's so much different than it used to be.
Scott, how was your time away? Your acquisition of your 1-ton Gladiator.
Well, so my wife, every time I get the last 2 Jeeps, this one being number 2, has tried to say, well, okay, now we're not going to modify it right away.
Why would she say that?
This time it was 5 years. It was her threaten. So I put a front bumper on it already.
Sorry. You don't need that kind of negativity.
Yeah, it's
Amy,
fine.
come on, Amy knows better.
With LED fog lights.
It's all in jest, I think. Anyway, it's already got the
think.
taser.
He's like, I slept on the couch.
No,
Yeah.
that's fine. So got that mod and the taser done. Went ahead and for some reason mine did not have LEDs in the front from the factory. So I went ahead and switched that out so that the fogs and in the bumper work.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm looking at winches and that kind of stuff and shocked at how expensive those have gotten. But I digress.
We're going to talk about that a little bit today in our
Yeah.
winter preparation conversation.
Yep. And I'm feeling a little bit naked on the front of the Jeep without a winch going into winter.
Going
but-
into winter.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that.
So on the 36, I was able to get both carbs rebuilt with my good friend Bob help. He did, I have those carburetors. So he did one, I did one, kind of showed me the ropes of that. So hopefully next time in a very distant future, not immediately after it runs, if I need to tear one apart, I will know what to do.
Sure.
Went ahead and used their Stromberg 97s for those car guys out there, and we used official Stromberg rebuild kits. Even give you a little water slide decal for the top of the carb that says genuine Stromberg.
Where
this
did you
spoke to my
find?
soul.
Where did you find Stromberg rebuild kits?
So Stromberg as an entity is back functioning.
Okay. So it's a reproduction piece then. This was not an NOS
No,
kit that you found
no.
somehow.
And it's it's all high quality stuff. They're
Right,
using,
but it's a reproduction based on the fad of these flatheads coming back into style.
yes,
Okay.
basically.
Okay.
And you can now buy brand new 97 straight from Stromberg.
Well, and it's kind of like us being able to buy an AX15,
correct,
right? I mean, we're pushing 30 years
Yes.
production.
Yes.
Yeah,
I believe that they're in England at this point.
Yeah, okay.
So someone like us has bought the rights and the name and that kind of stuff,
Yes.
but they also have a high stance on quality, so they're trying to do the brand justice. They've also expanded to do distributors. That's the distributor I have on mine. They call it an E-Fire, Stromberg's E-Fire distributor.
Okay.
But yes, they are in that niche market just for flatheads and early overhead
That makes
valves.
sense to me. Yeah.
So anyway, got that done. Another good company, small, over in, I think it's Jersey. I got my throttle linkage set up that connects both carburetors together. And then I realized really quickly, so factory, my car has one rod for a choke and one rod for a throttle. Some people joke that's your cruise control. You pull out the throttle rod and
Yeah,
it just kind of
course.
goes down the road. Where that throttle rod would have attached, it had this weird little bell crank thing that would allow you to push on the throttle with your foot, but still have that where it was. That had to all go away for what they call a dog bone and linkage. So that left me with an empty hole in the dash, and I was excited because then I was like, there I can put something. So
Put a switch.
put a
You could
switch
put
or
a
anything because
light.
I was not
Could put a button.
modifying the dash past what I had done before paint. So any which way, I have electric wipers on the car because I want to hopefully drive it, and it has this huge street rod-ish looking knob on it that was not fitting of what design I was going for this. So I went overboard and decided to adapt the throttle rod to fit that. So I had to make an adapter out of a bolt on my 1932 lathe, and I made a bracket out of sheet metal that moves the switch back behind the dash but doesn't hit the cowl vent. So I got a very small working area. And then I shortened down the throttle rod so that will go in. It goes in with a set screw, and it screws to 2 holes on the bottom of the dash. So 3 days work to put a wiper switch in the car,
Yeah,
but
right.
make it look right.
Right? Made it look perfect, I'm sure.
Yep. And I also shortened down the throttle rod because now the carburetor that you're going, or the choke rod, I mean, the carburetor is going to have an operating choke is in the back. Before it would have been in the middle of the motor, so that had to get shorter. And my rod that connects the throttle linkage on the firewall to the carburetor had to get shorter as well, so did all that. And then I promptly lost the rod that goes from the pedal pad to the linkage inside the car, so now I'm probably going to have to make one of those or buy one.
I promptly lost. Well, first of all, I got lost in the maze of rods and linkages.
Right.
Yeah.
My eyes started to glaze
That's
over.
where I
A little
was.
complicated.
I was like, this is a Ross cam system of pushing and
basically.
levering and
Yeah, if you've ever looked at a flathead steering linkage, yes. That's
oh my
throttle
god,
linkage.
oh my god, I started to like panic in my chest.
And for those that don't know, the throttle linkage actuates on the passenger side, even though you're on the driver's side.
You know what I
Now-
think he should do? I think he should make it drive-by-wire.
No. Don't talk
So-
to me, Jeff.
so
Anyway,
so I think what's interesting. So you eliminated your throttle position rod. Is that correct?
so back
you
in the
kept your
day,
choke.
back in the day, you had to open your throttle a little bit and open your choke a little bit and then start the car.
Yes.
I can't. I have to use my foot now, which
Yes.
everyone that's listening to this is going, well, yeah, that's what you do.
Right.
But back in the 30s and older,
You weren't intended to use your foot and
you,
pump
d-
it.
you reached in, you pulled that, you did that, you flipped the thing, you pushed a button on the floor. The other important thing is you had what looks like a dimmer switch, and I know I'm probably losing some people here, but a dimmer switch in between the clutch and the brake pedals. That's how you started my car originally. I now have a push button on the.
When you say a dimmer
dash.
switch, you mean a high-low switch.
Yes.
Right. And I think that's for people who are listening to us, a couple vintage pieces I want to expand upon is the high beam switch that was in all the pickup trucks. So
Yes.
usually it was on the left
Yes.
footwell.
Yep.
Was the starter button for a lot of our vintage vehicles,
Yes.
or something similar.
Looked like it,
right.
yes.
In fact, some of our vintage Willys Jeeps actually had a kickstart on them, folks,
Yeah.
which is actually a really cool thing. It was actually just to the right
Yeah.
of
It's on the
your.
center hump.
It was on the center. Yep,
So you
the
could
center tunnel.
Put your heel on the throttle and touch it with your top of your toe.
Yep. You actually had to kickstart your 40s or 50s
Yeah.
Willys CJ vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
Super cool old school technology.
Yep.
Now, the one piece that I'm going to talk about is that throttle rod that it sounds like you've eliminated.
Mm.
I think it's interesting how many of our vintage vehicles had that for PTO application,
Mm-hmm.
or just you might idle up for a couple other reasons.
Any
Right.
multitude of reasons.
And realistically, folks who are listening to this podcast are probably, mainly became drivers in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and early 2000s.
yeah.
We really got away from throttle control at the dash
Yes.
as a automotive industry. And I think it's actually one of my features that I like the most about the flash cal, right? That we
Yes.
actually sell for our JKs, JLs, JTs.
And Taser will do it too.
Taser will do it too now for sure. You actually have a lifetime idle up function
For that winching time.
for that winching time,
Yeah.
or jump starting, or what other
A-
reason you
Any
might.
reason you'd want the throttle to be higher than idle.
And that's not something we even had 5, 7, 8, 10 years ago on those flash cows. That's actually something just within the last few years.
Yep. And if you look at sadly vintage Jeep, which I'm talking about YJs or TJs, sadly, and it's standard
Antiques.
shift,
Antiques.
and you need to have the throttle higher than you need it, and you need to have your feet doing other things. You'll see bicycle shifters.
That was
on
a
the
super
shifter.
common.
That was
throttle.
a common thing.
Yep, we had a throttle control on our shifter, and we used the bicycle adjuster,
Yep.
a gear selector,
Yep.
to do so that you could, as I personally experienced, not fall off the mountain while I was trying to 2-foot my gas and my brake and
Yes.
my clutch.
Yes.
Um,
While it's on its side and the carburetor doesn't have the right fuel, and now it's not running right.
100%. 100%. Oh my goodness. So yeah, super cool stuff that you're working there.
Yeah. The other thing I did is I went ahead and finally got the starter back together and on, and was able to hit the button for the first time and have it turn over. But not until I put it all together, it didn't work. Took it to Bob and was like, "What did I do wrong?" We tore it apart again, and he's like, "Well, what grease did you use?" White lithium let me down, people.
Really?
It's not a good lubricant on a 30s Ford starter.
Really?
You gotta use axle grease, bearing grease.
Why? I don't understand.
Why? Because it would not turn fast. The bushings were actually gripping the armature so much with just white lithium on them, it would not turn over fast enough.
It was too tacky.
Too tacky. We put that regular grease in there, and it spins over like wildfire. It just boom.
Really?
That's incredible.
It was literally.
I wouldn't have figured that.
No.
Literally, everybody sitting in this studio would have said, "Oh, the starter's junk. Throw it away."
Yeah.
That's what I thought. And Bob's like, "No, something else is wrong." Because I used my growler. We talked about that a couple weeks ago, and everything tested good. And he's like, "Well, maybe you have a bad field coil." I'm like, "Well, how the heck do we test that?" And he's like, "Well, let's see what it does." And immediately he was like, "Oh, that's too sticky." Okay. So, but and
That's incredible that he even knew that right off
the theme
bat.
of me, losing stuff that I need. There's a special little fan that goes around where the brushes go. That I restored, blasted and painted, made all pretty, and then I took promptly a month and a half to rebuild this starter. I don't know where it is now.
Of course.
So,
Of course.
as the brown world turns,
No doubt. Oh, God bless you.
Back to the comments real quick. Brian is saying, "Good morning, guys."
Good morning. So we are going to take a few minutes now that you've kind of caught up within reason what's going on in our world.
Well, what's going on with your house?
So the little house has we've tried to kickstart it again while also maintaining forward trajectory on all the other things that we have going on in our life. I think the thing that I'm most excited about is that we are siding it. So kind of come heck or high water, we're trying desperately to have it look aesthetically pleasing. Also, the blue leather wrap, despite the fact that I have by pure coincidence some of the best product as far as house wrap is concerned, it's now been environmentally exposed for over a year at this point, or going on a year at this point, which really that house wrap is really not meant to be that exterior grade. The good news is it actually, because it was such a high quality product that we got on clearance, which is really, again, if you're following along with the house build, maybe you're just encountering it. My wife and I are doing that very bougie, trendy, small house build,
with Simpson flair.
Right? The good, the bad, and the ugly, and we're learning a lot along the way, and that's part of it. If you have
any good project, you should learn a lot during the
and
project.
that's
Yes.
it's the journey, not so much the destination. But I really want the destination to be done so that we can live on this beautiful piece of property.
I feel you.
Right? And so the good news is the house wrap is good, but we've been doing a lot of stuff, trying to do it affordably. So buying beautiful sliding glass doors out of like clearance, repurposed windows, clearance, house wrap.
And you don't have to order them then.
Oh, we don't have to order anything. We're just kind of having to build a house around them, So we are putting the siding up. Thankful for Greg went out and helped on the house and set some of the starter stuff the other day. Jason has been helping with a lot of it, and
Not only did he set some starter stuff, but he did like a whole side of your house in like
3 hours.
with
Yeah.
setting
And
all
he
the
only-
starter and doing all that siding.
And he only stopped because he just didn't simply have a tall enough ladder.
Yeah.
Like he would have taken like a half an hour, sneezed at it, and it would have been the south end would have been done.
Yeah, it's one of the many things in his repertoire that he does well.
Yes, and I knew exactly what I was doing when I asked him to go out there.
Yeah.
I'm 100%. I pull no qualms. My wife and I are full amateurs. We have some experience in our college years doing, kind of residential improvements on houses and properties. We've been your standard average American homeowner doing home improvement projects. We were building a small house,
Yeah.
So, but Greg was, professionally employed for many years doing roofs and siding and a number of other electrical work, a number of things. But I knew exactly what I was getting myself into, and I knew I was going to get an ear beating from him. But I chose to do it anyways because I wanted stuff to look nice. Right?
And he was tactful.
He was appropriate. He was
Yeah.
super appropriate. So, but he did a spectacular job getting stuff kind of situated and started. I've had a couple other people reach out, said they'd be willing to come out and help. Right now, I'm just trying to shoehorn some decent weather to try and get this done.
Yeah.
You know, would really be tickled if by Christmas we could have this place looking like a house on the outside at least. You know.
Yeah.
And then this weekend we put all the road miles on Chuck. Just basically didn't shut him off. I was all over Ohio. Participated at the Goodyear Blimp Toys for Tots drive. 200. This is quite the contentious. So I'm just simply going to say between 240 and 260. I recognize that the numbers 243 have been out there, 253 have been out there, 266 have been
when
put
you
out
get
there.
over 200 Jeeps, what's 20 Jeeps?
I don't care. I'm just here for a good time, right?
Yeah.
I'm not here for a long time,
the pictures
folks.
were awesome.
There was lots of cool Jeeps. People had a great attitude. Like
Yeah.
people were super happy to be there, supporting a good cause.
Did Davey go out with you?
Davey did not.
Oh,
Davey
man, because
actually.
that would have been really cool if he was allowed to fly the drone through it or something.
So and that would be and I hope that we can do it again in the future. People were very receptive that we were there, that there was representation, and there was a guy there who had a drone, just an independent. He did get permission because it is an airport.
Right.
Technically, it's airspace, but they did let him go up, take a couple quick pictures. So there's some really awesome pictures. There was a Mini Cooper Club there, which I really got behind.
Of course.
I thought it was super cool. So there was a motorcycle club, a Mini Cooper Club, a Mopar Club with a Ford Fiesta in it.
Yeah.
And then the Jeeps, and then they opened to the public. The Jeeps alone donated over 6,000 toys in a matter of 3 hours.
That's awesome.
Incredible.
Isn't that incredible? $1,000 in cash, or just under $1,000 in cash, and over 6,000 toys. And if you just think about a toy by today's standards, and I'm just kind of like thinking about this, a toy by today's standard is on average $10, and that's on the low end.
That's a really
But if we
low
were
end.
to just say if that was the low end, that means that the Jeep community gave on the low end around $60,000 worth of toys.
Yeah.
On Saturday alone.
That's awesome.
In that 2-3 hour window. So kudos to the event organizers, kudos to the folks who participated. If we're to try to quantify this qualifiable situation, this outpouring of community support, it was just a phenomenal experience.
The part that really spoke to me from the pictures is how big that hangar must be.
It's enormous.
I mean,
Well,
I saw Jeeps
Goodyear
going up
blimp
to
hangar.
I get it, but the Jeeps going up to the tour, I was like, oh my God.
Right.
It looks like a Hot Wheels car.
It looks like a Hot Wheels car going into the hangar.
Yeah.
I was like,
It's a really cool experience. Now the blimp itself is I didn't get a really good chance to be in awe of its size up close and personal.
It's unbelievable.
So the interesting thing, so my son went with me. Actually, for the Simpson household, it was a big weekend of kind of what I would call charitable endeavor. So Leo and I did that on Saturday. Jennifer did an adopt a family type thing on Sunday. So we were both kind of running our routes over the weekend with the season, right? Leo was with me for the Goodyear run. He was really smitten to be my stand-in cameraman. So we'll see what kind of footage actually came back from that. There was a lot of him videoing me, videoing him, stuff like that.
Oh, of course.
But he was looking up. He said there's only 25 blimps left in the world. A minimum of 3 of which I think are Goodyear blimps. There was some interesting statistics that he was kind of Googling in absence of Jeffrey juggling for us.
I was gonna say I didn't realize there was that few left in the world.
And let's be honest.
But I also didn't realize that there was that many Goodyear blimps.
Well, right, and he
it
is
makes sense.
he
that
is a
you'd have to
kid.
have at least 2 in the,
Well,
in the
yeah.
nation.
So he is a kid. So let's
Yeah.
understand that while he's a very with it kid, you
Yes.
know. So I mean, I would be interested to juggle it ourselves, but
Nah, I trust his juggling.
well, it's good for the internet.
Yeah.
So it was well orchestrated. It was appropriate as far as staging and times. People, new Jeepers. I had the opportunity to talk to a young man who was literally 16. He got an XJ. It was his first vehicle. He said that he's in the a motorcycle community, social pages.
Oh, you'll do
he's
great
in,
then.
Well, hold on. He's in a motorcycle. He's in a wrestling, and he's in a mixed martial arts social communities. And he's recently joined the Jeep community. He bought the Jeep before he even had a license, and he said he had never met nicer, more welcoming and open people than he had within the Jeep community so far. And I thought, that's a cool testament. Not only is that are we there giving over 6,000 toys and potentially $60,000 worth of merchandise.
I would say a minimum of 60,000.
That's a minimum of $60,000 worth of merchandise. I mean, honestly, we're probably pushing 100,000 by today's inflated standards. But then you have this young man who his first vehicle or his his Jeep and is this Jeep, this XJ that he's built himself. He's so proud of his craft, right? He made this hood scoop. He put his lift kit on. He did this. He did that. And he's like, hey, people are really cool. Like, people are supportive. They're not trying to down talk me.
Yeah.
And I was like, that makes me so proud to both be in this industry, but also leaders of this industry.
Yep.
And saying, like, this is what we're capable of on this very individual level for people who are Jeep owners, but also for this grand level that we're giving away, all of these toys and this happiness in this season. So it was just a really humbling and an excellent experience in that regard. And then, obviously, for those folks who are on my social as well, you'll know that we went and did a really epic Christmas tree hunt on Sunday as well before Jennifer went off to her event.
I saw the tree on the Jeep.
And we did this, like, classic, bound tree on top of Chuck Norris picture. And kudos.
As you should.
Kudos to Greg Family Christmas Tree Farm and their indulgence in that and all that they do for our family this time of year as well. So it was super cool. Look for more pictures on that as well. So yeah, lots of fun stuff. Like I said, Chuck Norris was all over doing stuff and being places and whatnot. So with that said, the bulk of our listeners are Jeep owners.
Yeah.
And for, most of the nation, and even Texas in the last couple of years, so the South, outside of maybe southern Arizona and southern Florida, you're not really going to get the winter stuff. But the rest of us, at some point in time or another, get the winter schmutz.
Mm-hmm.
And objectively, we want to focus on about 4 things that we think that will benefit you in your winter preparation.
Yep.
And we're just going to spend a little bit of time before we depart today talking about those things and expanding upon why we think they are valuable, and why we think these should be at the top end of your hit list for your winter preparation for your Jeeping experience. Scott had already touched on it, or on one of them.
I'm missing it.
With the interest or lack thereof of a winch.
Yep.
Additionally, the one of the items that I would tell you is really valuable would be our replacement soft tops, specifically our best top replacement soft tops. Additionally, we'll talk a little bit about WeatherTech or Husky floor mats and these really quality cut floor mats, and then obviously nice, good tires for winter as well. And so I want to expand upon those things just in your winter preparation experience to say, do you have these things, and here's why you should.
Yep.
So you want to tell us what your feeling is, or how naked are you feeling without that winch on the front of your Jeep?
Well, I did finally, put the most required piece. If you don't have your winch, you have to have this at minimum. My little purple strap.
Oh,
is now
no.
underneath
Oh,
my
no.
seat.
my God. You're not going to do anything with that purple strap.
Hey, I pulled a compass out of a ditch last year with it.
My God, he just produced, validated. He attempted to validate his position in life
Yes.
with this little 3-inch strap.
What he's not telling people is that the ditch was only, a couple
It was down
inches
the road
deep.
from my
Right?
house.
I was.
She pulled into. She literally couldn't steer out of her driveway and went into the snowdrift. And then when I was trying to pull her, she
Oh,
went
it was a
more into the
snowdrift, not a
snowdrift.
ditch.
Oh, this is a tall tale.
End
The
of the
fish
day.
I caught was this big.
Anyway,
In
maybe
absence,
sad though.
in absence of your toe strap, the latest YouTube video, folks, you're gonna want to watch it. We resort back to our roots in the latest YouTube video because you didn't have your
and it worked
3-inch.
fine.
And it worked fine.
It would work better if Neil was steering, from what I saw.
Nah,
It was fine.
silly, silly.
Oh,
So you
or
did right.
dramatic.
In absence of a winch,
A-
in an
a
absence of a
strap.
winch, a toe strap is valuable. Not a chain, folks.
No.
We all grew up on chains. There's a time and a place. Chains are great for
Leave
binding
the
on
chain
trailers.
on the tractor.
Leave your chain on the tractors. Put the chain on the trailer for binding purposes.
Yeah.
Long static poles. There's chains have a place. I'm not here to just
Good
say
for art projects.
Have you
But-
welded any chain projects?
but a good quality toe
I think
strap
that was a yes, or you've thought about
or
it.
kinetic rope. Oh my God, you too. Or good kinetic rope are valuable, but ultimately a winch is really you kind of king of the
yeah.
hill. It's the best insurance policy. I can't begin to tell you, and that's what I was talking about. Chuck running all over the country. I feel great with my 8274 hanging off the front of the Jeep.
I'm sure you do.
You just never feel as kind of that insurance policy of having a good quality working winch
Yeah.
ready to go at a moment's notice, hanging out on the front of your vehicle.
And you can't beat that milestone of having that winch.
Well, in my regard, yes, having that winch is an iconic piece and whatnot. And again, people notice it. I think it's interesting. Being at the event we were at, that doesn't look like anybody else's winch.
No.
But Jeffrey has the VRS 10S, right?
No, not the S. I don't have synthetic.
Oh, okay. You're the VR10.
Yep.
Then. Okay.
I
And-
eventually will be upgrading to synthetic because it's just the smarter choice.
Well, and that's the thing with my 8274. I actually took a vintage 8274 and I wound it with a worn Spydura synthetic winch line.
Yep.
And so I lost footage in my steel
But
cable,
saved a lot of weight.
but I saved a ton of weight.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And
and-
safety.
And as
he helped out Snowflake, my wife's 85 CJ7, in the process by giving us his
by
old-
donating the old stuff, right?
stuff,
Yeah.
And I can contest winding that on that drum. Synthetic is better.
No doubt. Oh, that's funny. So now, right now, what's happening is there has been arguably a shipping container load of the VR series worn winches.
Mm-hmm.
And it's worth talking about right now on this podcast because arguably you can get a worn winch for cheaper than you've ever gotten in your whole entire life, folks.
Yes.
The VR series was created to fill the competitive void of your Smittybilt 9.5 or your Badlands 12. There's a number of winches that are import-based winches that are actually pretty decent.
Yep.
Again, the Badlands from Harbor Freight is honestly not a bad winch.
Nope.
Duty cycle is going to be low. You're not going to be doing any rock crawling competitions with that winch.
No.
You could probably start, but doesn't mean that you're actually going to be fully competitive. But the Smittybilt 9.5, they have a whole series of winches. We actually have a couple competing. Rough Country has a quality entry level winch. OVS has a quality competing entry level winch. So Warren came in to the market and created their VR series. It has been trending anywhere between $600 and $800 for the last few years.
Yep.
Right now, they are offering a huge rebate on them, and most retail outlets are selling them between $450 and $550.
What I think is interesting about Warren specifically is that their price is no longer protected. So, average consumer could end up overspending just because depending on where you look, the price is different.
You need to shop around a little bit.
So
check.
we happen to know where the better deals are at, and we can help source those prices and get you in the best deal here.
Yep.
And that would be our ideal situation, is to get you into the Warren, just because we understand their quality control.
Oh, well, it's important to note that Oscar, the Jeep I just got sold off or adopted out, had a VR10S on it,
Yes.
and it was just flawless.
Now, what bumper did you put on your Jeep?
I put the Mopar metal front bumper.
Do you have to get the Mopar winch plate as well, correct?
So I was looking into that, and there's actually a ton of different options.
There are a number of add-on options.
Yeah, I can get a winch plate from RC. I can get it from Warren. I can get it from Mopar. I can get it.
Rock Hard has one as well. I know.
Has one.
Rusty's has had one in the past.
There's
I know.
a ton of different options there. Pretty much price point and availability, and a couple little niceties here or there.
So, are you planning to try and take advantage of this current Warren sale and put a winch into the bumper?
Well, it depends on what the wife says.
All right, good
So,
talk.
with that being said, jumping back to the comments here, Daddy Jeep did say, I like my Quadratech winches. Darla said another thing to add to my list, and her wish list, that is.
Yes, yeah, no
Yep.
doubt. And it's important to note the quad winches are going into the same factories as Smitty built, or they're probably going to be most similarly aligned to the Smitty lines. Maybe the RC, those types of factories are arguably going to be sharing a lot of the same patterning, which is obviously also what Warren and some of the other, economy. Proven economy winches,
And
right?
really-
Amazon is still the Wild West, folks. So if you
Yes.
see a winch that's a no name,
Yeah, should be on Wish.
it should be on Wish or Temu. I would still avoid that.
I mean,
But-
really what came down to me for my last choice was why I chose the VR10S, as I wanted synthetic. The quality of the remote was really paramount on me, and Warren makes their remotes kind of fit all Warren winches.
Yeah,
So if you are a multi-Jeep family and you decide to put Warrens on everything, one controller will fit everybody.
Yep.
Which is kind of nice. Even though you bought the economy, air quotes, Warren, it still is the same plug and everything as their Xeon and that kind of winches, which I
Sure.
think is really cool.
And
It is.
I can attest to the fact that it just works, whether you do the steel cable or
Yeah.
the synthetic. We've multiple times used it.
Yeah.
I have used it to pull a car out of a ditch last winter as well, and
Yeah.
it wasn't a small ditch. The
No.
car was buried.
Well, and ultimately, I was going to talk about your situation a little bit. You actually opted to utilize the Rock Hard like add-on plate
Yeah.
for a factory bumper on
For
your
a plastic bumper.
for a plastic bumper. So
Yeah.
a lot of people have felt that the entry price point to put a steel bumper on their JLJT, and I do believe they have this available for JK as well, would be cost prohibitive
Yes.
to putting a winch on.
Yep.
And of course, we recommend a good quality front bumper over kind of anything.
Yeah.
And so if you're not going to put a good quality bumper on the front, then this add-on plate from Rock Hard allows you to adapt some front mounting points
right to the
put-
frame.
right to the frame,
Yeah.
through your plastic bumper, more or less.
Well, right
Um,
behind it, so it doesn't even you're not affecting your plastic bumper. You don't have to modify anything.
Yeah.
Right. And so why don't you tell us a little bit about what your application is, Jeffrey?
So it is basically a flat plate with the option for the bull bar, which I did put on there as well, and it tucks in behind your factory tow hooks on the front bumper,
Yep.
and then bolts down underneath to the actual frame. So you have a couple mounting points. It's very secure, and by doing that option with a winch from Warren, like I did, especially with the deal now, you can get your winch set up for under $1,000. Most steel bumpers that are quality and worth putting on the front of it start at $1,000.
Around $1,000.
So
I did Scott Brown things, but my bumper I put on mine is normally like $1,500.
correct, and that doesn't include the winch or the
Or the
hardware,
tray.
The tray.
Yeah.
So it's important to note because Scott is reaching out to us in our comment section asking when is that Warren rebate good through. So the purchase of that winch has to be done by December 15th. and then you have roughly 30 days to submit the paperwork to Warren. Like any of our industry rebates, I guess I'm not trusting, so do it sooner than later is kind of always.
Give them no reason to say no.
Yep, absolutely. So, but definitely factually what they're indicating their timestamps, purchase has to be done by December 15th and submitted by January 15th. Easy to remember.
Yep.
So besides our winch, and there's a couple applications to mounting it, I'm going to jump right into, again, I like WeatherTech's, but we've sold the heck out of Husky liners as well.
Yep.
Husky and WeatherTech, 100% USA, laser cut, exact fit floor mats. Now, it's a simple, but it gives you a tremendous amount of peace of mind as an owner having these slush mats in your vehicle. One of the things that I think we can all, at least in the the snow belt, can remember when we didn't have these good floor mats years ago was that springtime foul smell. You used to have March, April, May, somewhere in there as it started to warm up during the day.
I remember my old XJ.
Yes.
You'd have all this frozen water off your boots.
Yep.
And you don't really notice it
Until
during
your
the
boot
winter.
slips when you're trying to use the
and
pedal.
then that first warm day and there's a pond.
Yes.
Because all that stuff has melted off the carpet, and you're like, why do I have an inch of water in my floorboard?
And has filled your floorboard.
And then as an XJ owner, you panic.
Right.
Because I have to bail now because get this out of here.
I have to bail.
I've
There's no
literally
floor plugs.
had so much build up that once you have the heat running and you're driving, it melts off, and then when it sits, it freezes so that your boot is
Slippery.
literally slipping
Yes.
when
Yeah.
you're trying to hit the gas or
That's
brake.
safe. It's fine.
Yes. Here's the thing. I wanted to come in with a price point as far as your winter readiness list, as far as stuff for your Jeep. This you don't have to spend the $1,000. If you want to spend $100, you can get yourself a nice set of really good quality, exact fit floor mats that are going to protect your investment of your vehicle, but then also give you that peace of mind when buildup does happen. You just grab that liner, bail it out the side of your vehicle.
Literally pick it up, dump it, put it back in.
Yeah,
Move on with
absolutely.
life.
And
Not got the cup
right.
and 500 trips of the cup later.
And if you're like any of us with kids, being able to accessorize the back because
Yes.
obviously they're dirty, muddy boot prints in and out of the vehicle.
Yep.
Food and drink spills.
Food and drink spills. There's lots of different as far as those lines. As far as Husky and WeatherTech alone, they've got seat protectors. They've got armrest protectors. They've got cup holder stuff. All of those accessories. And then they also have for man's best friend, they have cargo protectors. And
Keeps the flathead mess at bay as well when you're hauling in the back of your Wrangler.
you are the worst. You are the worst. Yes,
I
keeps
don't have
all
to do
of
that now.
So as far as those things are concerned, if you are talking about winter readiness and your own pocketbook for you or for somebody else, so you don't want to get the winch out just yet, you could totally get into some nice floor liners. We also have those available. I said I like to sell the WeatherTechs. I like the Huskies as well.
And me, it's just really what's available for your specific model.
Exactly.
And the
right.
WeatherTechs have been very popular out of the shop as of lately too.
No
so.
doubt. I'm going to move on to tops, just simply because I've fielded a bunch of novice questions recently. People looking for hard tops. Tis the season where people want that better insulatory value from what they perceive from a hard top, road, temperature, all of those NVH, noise, vibration, harshness, all of those things that they think they're going to be gaining with a hard top. Here's an important PSA: 2-door JK and JL hard tops do not exist.
Yeah.
I say that tongue in cheek because, of course, somewhere out there they do.
Yeah.
But they do not exist like 4-door hard tops.
They're not in a big supply.
They're not in a big
And
supply.
you're driving to get one.
Very much so. You're putting the road miles on, and you're paying a premium typically,
Yeah.
right?
And then how do you get it home when you get there?
Absolutely.
I've seen people drive topless like a state away to go put our top on and drive home.
Right. And you have to be, and you can drive with your top up, but then you got to be prepared to take your top down and do the whole
Shove it in there.
switcheroo. And and if there's a will, there's a way. I totally recognize that. But it's important as people are looking that I think one of the challenges with our industry specifically is there are so many aftermarket parts that people think hard tops are one of those aftermarket products available in an abundance, and they simply are not. Just because you see the data set online does not mean that they're stacked up in warehouses ready to be purchased.
Yeah, it's far worse than Jeffrey's dryer.
Yes.
Oh, it's just ordering anything nowadays. When a website doesn't tell you the availability, I recommend reaching out and asking, because just because they list it doesn't mean they have it.
Well, and that's with us as well. You're welcome
Correct.
to reach out to us, and we'll help you through the checkout process and acquisition of those parts. But ultimately, I take a minute and say, this is your time to upgrade and into a new soft top before January, February, before those deep-seated cold times come around, before you're so fed up with the drafts and the leaks. This is the time to do it. It's going to happen. We're going to be inundated January, February, early March from people who are like, that's it. I can't take it anymore. I've got to do a soft top.
Or they were brushing off their Jeep and accidentally pierced a window.
The windows. The plastics become old, brittled, and scratchy. This is the opportunity. The newest tops are very thick. They're actually very good at keeping down the sound and noise and wind, and also keeping in the heat better than soft tops ever have.
Yep.
So, definitely investing in a top prior to the harsh winter is to your advantage. And ultimately, if you keep your Jeep outside, you should invest in the better top. If you garage your Jeep regularly and it's just going to kind of sit outside while you're at work or your social affairs, then you can invest in one of the older style fabrics, what's called a diamond fabric. But otherwise, you would want to be looking at the twill fabrics for most of your applications. Additionally, most soft tops are in the $1,000 to $1,500 range, and realistically, a aftermarket or a Mopar hardtop is pushing around $3,000. So if a soft top has an average lifespan of 5 to 7 years, depending on utilization, you can theoretically replace your top twice to the once that you buy a hardtop. And, ultimately, you're talking about 10 to 14 years worth of utilization. Very rarely do people keep their vehicles for that length anymore.
Yeah.
Last piece of winter preparation on our 4-part short list is going to be tires.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts?
I think tires are critical to winter weather. Absolutely.
Yep. And the type of tire.
The type of tire and the way that you're going to be using it matter.
Yeah, you should probably not pull the Jeep with TSLs out in middle of January.
If you don't know what TSLs are, folks, they are a super swamper.
Yeah.
Reasonably soft compound, big lug. They got a big lug. They're really meant for the mud and the rock.
Yeah.
I mean, it might be good if you're just going out in a field full of snow, but that's
Maybe.
about it.
It makes for good content,
Right?
Yeah, it's fine.
Daddy Jeep also just chimed in and said if anyone needs a YJ hardtop, he knows a guy.
Excellent. There you go. He's getting a plug online or
Yeah.
on air. The thing is, folks, I actually got done watching A Christmas Story. It's just absolutely one of my favorite Christmas movies.
Which means we have to also transition back to the parade a little bit because we didn't talk about that yet.
Yep.
All right. And in that, one of Ralphie's lines is that his dad's tires only resemble the tire in the sense that they once were made of rubber and were slightly round.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they had to put a tire on in the movie, if I remember right.
That's right. And they were just bald as could be slicks. Now, back in the day, that would have been a bias ply. It would have been a whole bunch of different things.
Yep.
Super fun, where our society. And it's interesting because I was just privy to a meme online the other day where people were talking about they used to drive in 2-wheel drive, rear wheel,
Yep.
2-wheel drive,
No ABS.
no traction control, bias ply tires, and we did it just fine. Okay, that was the
That's
statement. Here's the thing: we literally travel faster.
Yes.
Like physically faster.
The speed limits have all been increased.
Everything's been increased. Then that technology, and we're talking 20 to 30 miles per hour faster than we ever traveled then. We travel further as a society than we traveled then as on a whole, like on a big level.
And we know better.
And we know better.
And,
right?
and additionally, one of the reasons why the tires are so critical is the vehicles have so many safety features built into it that you develop a level of comfort and don't realize how important those tires are.
Yeah.
100%.
And my big thing is, years ago, and I was absolutely a person who disregarded tires, and I also, as a novice, say a teenager, was doing my own brakes and all that kind of stuff.
Chuck said Goodyear Maypops.
Better than when pops.
I didn't realize how important the concept of saying, the thing that makes you stop and the things that give you traction to the ground, the things that keep you connected to the ground, those really should be your highest priorities in a good quality and professional approach. So with your winter, shortlist, winter preparation, really, really want to push home a good quality tire. We like ATs, all-terrains. That's actually slightly more aggressive than your all seasons. Most of your factory Jeeps are going to come with like an all season tire. We're going to move you one step further into an all terrain, one that has more bites and sipes. It's going to give you a little more of that off-road advantage. You can do a lot with an all season in your general application, but as an industry, as us as a business, you as one of our listeners, kind of the minimum we want to see you in as a good quality all-terrain tire.
Yeah, and the proper air pressure.
Oh,
Yes.
my goodness, that's a conversation on it under its own. But the bigger the tire, the less air it needs to be proper.
Okay,
That's your
Give us a 5-minute summary on the parade.
5-minute summary on the parade.
It was very Jeepy here.
It was very Jeepy here. We had multiple clubs represented. We had reached out to a number of local businesses and personally invited businesses to attend with us. We had the objective to really just make people happy with our Jeeps as a community as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
We pushed over 50 Jeeps throughout the parade. We actually cleared out the lot. You're going to want to watch the most recent YouTube video with some of the preparation leading up to the parade night and then some of the fun footage downtown. There's a category in the local parade now with most participants. We're pretty certain that they just added that. They made that up for the Jeep, for us as the Jeep people.
Because we always win it.
Yeah, because now we're just, I don't know. Like, I don't know who else would win it unless you had like a full congregation or a whole organization that marched through the parade or something.
Well, that's the funny part is that even like the marching band, they have a lot of participants.
Yeah.
But when you count over 50 Jeeps and all of them are full,
Yes,
Yeah.
with people.
I mean, you're not going to compete with that.
And I think that's what's really cool is that they're all, most of them are full, right?
Yeah.
And if they're not, if you ever were thinking, hey, I'd like to participate, but my Jeep is down, or I actually experienced somebody said, hey, her grandchildren were out of town, and so she wanted to do the parade, but she wanted other people to participate. She was actually able to get some other kids and families to just ride along in the Jeep with her,
Yeah.
because it's a cool experience, right?
And something that just, my wife was prepared. I was not prepared. I forgot what I bought, and I was just imagining what had happened prior years. We've taken the 7 through. We've taken, obviously, Oscar through lots of times. And, kids are trying to throw candy out the back window and half of them end up inside. And I literally had this conscious thing of like, oh, now I'm going to be finding like Tootsie Rolls underneath the back seat for the next 6 months. My wife's like, why would we do that? We're just going to sit in the bed and throw from the bed. And was like, huh.
The Browns learned from
The Browns
me.
learned.
Your mind was blown.
And my mind was blown, and I had a very quiet, single,
You
drive,
rode by yourself.
rode by myself. And I was
Yeah.
like, wow, I could have invited other people to come and ride with me.
Totally could. Totally could. So we approached it differently as a business than we have in the past, because again we pushed for ample. We've always wanted people to come and join us, but
Yeah.
I don't know that message really got out there the way that I desire it to, right?
And we had more of a thought before we just, people kind of come in under their own volition, and then we would all try to form a line to get out of here. And this time we're like, listen, we're going to have a plan.
Yep.
We're going to have everybody come in a certain orientation so that we can all flow out at a certain orientation, because when it's time to move, it's go time.
Yes. Yep.
And it worked perfectly.
flawlessly.
It was
right?
awesome.
We had set up with spotters to help direct people. So Neil was at the front directing people. I was
Yeah.
getting people out on the lines. It flowed better than it ever has.
And, we had a great participation. The city literally came in, one of the city officials made sure to come over that night, right after the parade, as we were kind of decompressing here, come over after the parade and come in and just be like, thank you so much for hosting that. The people love it. We love it. It makes the parade. Now, the parade as a whole was one of the biggest parades I feel like this town has seen in decades.
Well,
It was awesome.
They were saying they invited like every fire department within
but
huge
even just
radius.
local
So,
organizations
between
with
that.
floats, it was
Yep.
wild. You
And
know,
the other thing that really stuck out to me that I'd never seen before, and it's probably just Scott, there was people throwing ducks in the parade, not just candy. They're throwing candy and ducks.
so let's talk about the Jeepers in general,
that
right?
was
Because
awesome.
I think it's really interesting, and I'm trying to recognize whether this is happening across the U.S. and further. So our listeners are going to need to chime in. I need to know, but certainly in our local area, Jeep clubs and groups and individuals have swarmed to support their local Christmas parades,
Mm-hmm.
and there were probably three or four other Christmas parades that have happened that have had a showing of Jeep show up to help celebrate at those Christmas parades. At our Christmas parade alone, and this was one of the really cool things, we act as just kind of a host site. I was going to say I got to throw credit out to my sister because she puts on a very nice kind of continental space where we do drinks and hot chocolate and cookies and apple slices. She always tries to come up with something kind of like kitschy and cute and unique.
Not only that, but then she decorates the whole shop.
She decorates the front end of the showroom and everything
so
for
it's
us.
not mechanics trying to put up a tree. And
God, we tried that. It was terrible.
It's terrible.
It was terrible. It was years ago, and it was terrible. Unfortunately, she has stepped up. I have kind of bequeathed that expectation to her. She takes it and runs wonderfully. People are very receptive and responsive. You get to come in. You get the 2-cent tour of our facility. We're highly transparent. There's lots of things going on. You can see right into the
Workspace.
sanctum workspace of this building. And, we're here hanging out with you. And then the Jeepers decorate, right? And you get to decorate your own Jeep. And you have your own, like, there was bubbles. There was confetti cannons. There was ducks getting thrown out. I mean, that was wild, you know?
And because of the theme of this parade,
Which was A Christmas Story.
A Christmas Story, my wife got the pink bunny costume. And
I was a little
like,
disappointed that I didn't get to wear it.
she went on to it like this. The bunny has spoken. It gave her such this confidence level. I was like, Scott's decoration game is very low. Put a bow on the front, little reindeer antlers. I'm good.
Yes.
No.
You showed me up this year. I was impressed.
Brought her A game.
She was excited.
She was super excited. I was not prepared.
Yeah.
We were going to have a tote decoration or a tote just for Jeep decoration at this point. I was like, okay.
It was super cool. If you're in our local-ish space, and know that we've had people traveling, excuse me, as much as our shop supports a 3-hour market radius, we are regularly getting people from an hour and a half coming in for this parade.
Yeah,
and so
it was awesome.
we appreciate that. Please, if you think about joining us, do absolutely make that a priority next year. So right now we have kind of a friendly competition going on between our 4th of July parade and our Christmas parade, and which one is producing more Jeeps. And right now, as of our most recent history, this particular Christmas parade, has taken the reins on, pun intended, on the competition here.
Well, I'm gonna have a call to action since I'm the vintage guy in the vintage corner. We had a XJ at the Christmas parade, so
Yeah.
I'm speaking to you, the universe. We need all the vintage Jeeps for the 4th of July parade. You have
Oh,
no
boy.
excuses.
That's right.
I understand the snow and the salt. Believe me, I understand. But 4th of July parade, we got to show them up because I love me a good JK, JL, and Gladiator. Don't get me wrong, but there was a XJ.
Yeah, the 20-plus-year-old vehicles
we're
You
not
know,
here.
We're not 25-year plus.
Only I can hope is that they're all at home, snug in their car covers.
That's right.
So
Busy week, and we've got about 3 weeks as we head into the Christmas season. And I suppose we've put it off enough. Jeffrey claims that there might be music.
I'm gonna try. I can't promise that it works.
Otherwise, we might be going a cappella in the process.
So there are 4 days, and I made it easier for you to read by just doing the actual Jeep part of it. You have to insert the rest of the lyrics yourself.
oh geez.
Because I know you know the song well enough at this point.
Wow.
Wasn't
Wow.
ready.
I wasn't ready because who reads from the bottom up?
Oh, I did do it backwards for you, didn't I?
You did.
Oh, that's because when you get to the 12th day, you'll be able to just go right down the list. I had a reason for it.
No, yeah.
All right.
Let's see if there's music in the background here.
I hear something.
This was a soundtrack one, I'm just saying.
This is like a 90s Muzak commercial. On the first day of Christmas, Jeepmas, my true love gave to me. What? Where are we? Is it playing?
We're gonna start it over.
Is it playing?
It was playing. Do I need to turn the volume
Is there
up a
a
little?
vamp? Is it a vamp? Is there anything? Don't go too loud. My old man's, my sensitive ears. On the first day of Jeepmas, my true love gave to me a Jeep built by. What? Miss my two gave me 2 Jeep waves and a Jeep built by.
What's the first one? I'm so
I don't
waiting.
even know. This music is so awful. Me 3 new Jeeps. What is this?
Oh, I've said they don't have music.
Nope. They
What?
don't have music, and we're just gonna do it a cappella.
My goodness. You're glad you didn't have music, folks.
It was bad. I don't know what I picked, but it was
Wasn't
not.
it
Jeff's going to have to edit that in for
Wasn't there a
our
speaker
listeners.
off your speaker so that you could take your mic and put it there and
No,
improvise?
no, we're just doing
I can play it off the phone
on
at
the
this point.
first day of Jeepmas. My true love gave to me
I'm missing the music.
a Jeep built by SFJ.
There it is.
On the second day of Jeepmas, my true love gave to me 2 Jeep waves and a Jeep built by SFJ. That is going to be really, really tough.
I know. I can't make it too easy for you.
Oh my goodness. On the third day of Jeepmas, my true love gave to me 3 new Jeeps. I was going to do 5 golden rings. 2 Jeep waves and a Jeep built by SFJ.
Who's
it's
getting
super
3
weird.
Jeeps for
Who's,
Christmas?
Who's getting 3 new Jeeps?
Well,
Maybe you're in your household, not
did.
my
Well, I know.
household.
I know the Fury's got 3 Jeeps this year.
Well,
so-
Oh, that's
not all that
okay.
this year.
Well,
yeah.
goodness. Thank God this is almost over. Then that music was terrible.
It was. I'll give you
On
that.
the 4th day
Should've just
of
made it myself.
Jeepmas, my true love gave to me 4 beadlock wheels. He's repurposed that one. We've had
Yeah.
beadlock wheels in the past.
Yeah, what about
So,
the fifth?
We're a spare
We're
tire
a 5
company.
company.
We're a spare tire
I
company.
understand that.
3 new Jeeps, 2 Jeep waves, and a Jeep built by SFJ.
See, you got it. So next week,
Good luck, folks.
next week I'll try to actually just make the music myself because obviously I can't rely on
ears
commercial
are
music.
bleeding. Everybody has
It
turned
was so
off.
bad.
And, and the peoples need to hear it. You need to figure that out, Jeffrey.
Well, additionally, so I think it's just because I tried to use commercial. We were allowed to use it, but whatever reason it wasn't
That's
working.
fine.
Oh,
Yep.
So I want to also say that yes, there are some repurposed items from the last 2 times that we've done this mixed throughout,
We
and they
need
may
fresh-
not be on the same item line that they were before. So I'd like to hear our listeners see if they remember which ones are
Oh,
repeats
jeez.
and where it was last time.
Awesome.
And that was actually Davey's idea to do that because I was struggling to come up with some.
Some fresh content, huh?
Yeah, so
I get it. All right, folks. It's been a whirl, and the last couple of weeks have been a great kickoff to the season. We hope that you are plowing right through this wintry season wherever you're at. And if you're in need of something, give us a call, email, text our text only number. We're here to be a help to you. We've been collecting Jeeps like crazy. We appreciate that. To a degree, we'd like for you to call ahead before you just drop them off. Things, but it is what it is. We understand that we are providing a service, and you're in need of right now. In the parking lot alone, we have California, Texas, Kentucky in the building, Florida, along with our Pennsylvania, Ohio, New York customers. So it's definitely a busy one. We've got plenty to do. Without further ado, Jeep on.
Jeep on.
Jeep on.